Hiya YouTube and everyone who's homeschooling. I thought I'd just give you a quick flip through of the books that we're using in English language. Excuse me. We're doing Pride and Prejudice, obviously at the moment the study edition guide, and with those I have the York's Notes, the workbook, and the York Study guide. Okay, I can't talk today. Anyway, this one, I got this ages ago. It's quite thick, and I think it's ideal for when you're doing, it's a bit boring by my daughter's standards, but one of those necessities, I'm afraid. We needed to get it done. So this one has chapter 1, and then on the sides of every chapter, if I can get it in focus, it's, oh, there we go. It's got a little tip box on each bit telling you about bits to that chapter. Another one there, and another one there. Language and style in there. Characters, Mr. Bennet, and it just tells you a bit about each part, as you can see as you go through the book, which is quite handy. Anyway, with the workbook, you obviously turn to the page you need. Obviously I'm using both the workbook and the study guide at the moment. First of all, it tells you on each of the books, each of the books has got assessment, objective, and everything down there, wording, and worth thinking about on each part. So basically when you turn to your first page, let's go to this bit. It says part 2, plot and action, which is this part here, and it just tells you volume 1, the Bennets and their neighbours in Hertfordshire. Okay, so you go to this page and to the first part. Part 1 is just telling you about everything. Part 2 is plot and action. So, and then you just gives you to read chapter 1 in the book. There's chapter 1. And chapter 1 is like only a little bit. I mean, you can get them to read that out loud. So chapter 1 is only like there, and then that page and up to there. Then we're on chapter 2 now. So this just gives you some questions on the first part. Basically gets you to think about the introduction of who's in the first part of the chapter. Then write some sentences about attitudes to marriage and money, and all in these chapters. And obviously few questions there, and also exam preparation, writing about the Austen techniques. Sorry about that. We have this table here where you've got to fill in little bits for each table about evidence about Austen shows Mr. Bennet to be wary of his marriage and his wife's hypochondria, her nerves. And you just write little bits and bobs in there, and you're supposed to find out these parts from each of the chapters. Okay, so then we go back to this book. Let's move this one over a minute. So in this one, all it does is just gives you a few outlines, what you're supposed to read to them, and it gives you a tip in the tip box and stuff, so that comes in handy. So this is just for chapter 1, and it says chapters 1 to 12, but you read each bit to just check they're on the right line, the right road, as they say. Anyway, here's the first part. Volume 1, chapter 1, and it gives you an outline again of everything here. Stuff you should be reading, and key themes about the marriage and money, and key characters, and top tip and writing about style. And that's so you can keep them on, they can even read that before they start this one over here, and everything. And there's also top tips in the box. There's some key context there. And then volume 1, chapters 3 to 5. So I think the first one was chapters 1 and 2. So basically you have to read 1 and 2. Again, chapter 2 is only one. There's chapter 2. Chapter 2 is only a small section as well. I get her to read that out loud. And it's just a really long one, like chapter 3 is. and chapter 4. Chapter 4 is not too bad. Chapter 5 is the longest, I think, so far. So, chapter 5. And there's chapter 6 there. There it is, chapter 6. So, but yes, basically these are very handy. And then you just follow these guides for each chapter you're reading. Gives them why are these chapters important, and you can ask the questions on there. And key themes of Pride and Prejudice, and then on to the next page when you've done that. Each chapter in the book, or the workbook, is basically the same. They give you a set of questions there, and then another set of questions there, and then a little information, and then another table and some more questions. So there we go. Volume 1, chapters 7 to 8. You have to fill in the missing words on this part, so, but yeah, it's quite, and then there's your table where you fill in the bits where you need to fill in the evidence from each chapter you've read, and so forth. Again, questions, thinking more deeply, some more writing, exam preparation, writing about foreshadowing events, and the table which you need to fill in, and some more questions. So basically that is throughout the book. So just so you know, there is answers at the back, just so you know. Excuse me, the answers at the back. And some questions where it says write up point 1 into paragraph below in your own words. The answers of this question, and maybe other ones like it, will not be in the back. They won't even give you a set of questions similar, or answers similar. That it's just one question. I think it gives all the questions. That one, maybe. And I think these ones, obviously, but things you have to write in your own words. They don't even give you an example question, so you'd have to mark that as good as you think you can mark it when you're doing it. But back to this book. Okay, so we're on chapters 3 and 5, and each chapter, obviously, it's like the first chapter, it gives you a summary, the why are these important, key themes, what is in this chapter important, why is this chapter important, irony, there's language irony, and aiming high, analysing character actions. So you get a little bit just something different on each chapter to work with, but gives you things to focus on for your exam, obviously speech, and shows awareness and expands on the idea to include new references and everything. So yeah, so they're all different. You get this revision, focus, character and their reactions and other things. They still get things like why is this chapter important on each of them, I think. And then you're supposed to ask them why, and then they hopefully tell you something back in the way of these answers. And then we got another set, we get key quotations from the narrator, and then again why our chapter is important, some more tips and key context is in the orange and purple boxes. Checkpoints are also on the sides. If you read the checkpoints, it says how is Mrs. Bennet's reaction to the news of Charlotte's engagement typical of her character? So you read things like that on the side and things like that. And there's another one. And then also again we got some more checkpoints on the side, and obviously why is these chapters important, and key themes and key forms and characters and stuff, and obviously aiming high for this one. And it pretty much goes on like that through the book. There's some nice illustrations in there to give you some idea. But yeah, so these are, if you're going to use these books, I would recommend you use them all together. I mean, even though this one is a set, the boring set, apparently. My daughter thinks it's a bit boring, and it's all too much love in it and stuff. Romance and things. I do kind of recommend that you buy the study edition, because it has the complete novel with useful hints and space for notes. So you've got lots of space if you want to write in it. or even highlight it with a highlighter, but I'm not sure how that will go through on the other side. But yeah, so there's lots of space in it, and that's one reason I think I got it, so if we needed to write something on there we would. But I don't think I'd like to do that really, because eventually I'm going to have to get rid of this copy and give it to somebody else. So, but yeah, so this is just a quick flip through of some of the books. But yeah, you can get the workbooks for all of the subjects of all the study guides and everything. But just in case, I think I got mine from Waterstones, a bookstore, Waterstones. But I got this from Amazon, so it was there. I think it was only a couple of pounds. I think I got it from Amazon. It could have been from the World of Books, which has got a lot of this sort of thing on there for a really cheap price. So I recommend you doing that, the World of Books, for that one. But yeah, the rest of them, you can get them on the internet, but I got these from the bookstore. And I actually wanted to look through them before I brought them, just so I could see what was going on inside it, like you do. So yeah, so hopefully like and subscribe, and hopefully see you soon for another video. Bye!